Story 1. AITA for sleeping with my sister's husband. I, 29F, find myself in a complicated and difficult situation that has strained my relationship with my sister, 31F. I recently slept with her husband, and now she refuses to speak to me. However, I genuinely believe that I am not solely to blame for the fallout, and I need an impartial judgment on whether I am the asshole in this scenario. Prior to the incident, I noticed some questionable behavior from my brother-in-law, 33M, towards me. Feeling concerned about my sister's well-being, I decided to address the issue with her. However, she dismissed my concerns, leaving me unsure of how to proceed. My sister works as a flight attendant and is gone more than she is at home. My Bill recently lost his job and was feeling depressed. During one of her frequent absences from home, she asked me to keep her husband company. She trusted me and didn't believe the warnings that I gave her before about his behavior towards me, but I saw this as an opportunity to support their marriage and help them rebuild their connection. Unfortunately, as we spent more time together, our bond deepened, and we eventually crossed a line that should never have been crossed. We had both been drinking, and he was complaining to me about the troubles in their marriage, and how he hasn't been for a while. He was crying and I decided to comfort him. One thing led to another, and we did the unthinkable. I woke up realizing the nature of what I did, and immediately realized the nature of what had happened. We both were so intoxicated that we stupidly ended up falling asleep. I awoke to my sister screaming and hitting the both of us screaming, "How could you do this to me? We're sisters, I trusted you." She wouldn't even give me a chance to explain and kicked me out of the house. Now, my sister refuses to speak to me. She has filed for divorce. Our parents are siding with her, saying that I violated every family moral. However, I believe that there are multiple factors at play here, and I am not the only one responsible for the breakdown of their marriage. While I acknowledge my mistake, I also question why my sister failed to address the issues in her relationship, and why she left her husband in my care without setting clear boundaries. I do feel a sense of guilt and remorse for my actions, but I also recognize that my sister and her husband had their fair share of problems. It's unfair to place all the blame on me when there were underlying issues that existed long before our involvement. That being said, I understand my sister's anger and hurt. I am willing to accept responsibility for my actions and make amends, but I also believe that it is crucial for her to acknowledge her role in this situation. Rebuilding trust and repairing our relationship will require open and honest communication from both parties. In sharing my story, I hope for an unbiased judgment and guidance on how to navigate this difficult situation. AITA for sleeping with my sister's husband. Edit. Screenshots of my last conversation with her before she blocked me on my profile. Update. Okay guys, I get it. You guys have ripped me apart in the comments, and yeah, I admit I messed up. After deeply reflecting on my actions and seeking advice from others, I have come to realize the extent of the hurt and damage I caused to my sister. I genuinely regret my behavior, and am now fully aware that I was in the wrong. There's no excuse for what I did, and I think I was trying to excuse my actions because the thought of it always too painful. Last night after reading comments, I mustered up the courage to reach out and apologize to my sister. Unfortunately, despite my sincere efforts, she has not only refused to speak to me, but has also blocked me from all forms of communication. The fact that my sister has taken such measures is deeply upsetting to me. I yearn for her forgiveness, and genuinely want her back in my life. However, I understand that I cannot force her to reconcile or forgive me on my terms. I have sought advice from friends and family on how to navigate this situation, but it seems like the best course of action for now is to respect her boundaries and give her the space she clearly needs. I have continued to reflect on my actions, and have sought therapy to address the underlying issues that led to my hurtful behavior. I found some online and plan on calling soon to get started up to help figure out the root for my behavior. I am committed to personal growth and becoming a better person, regardless of whether or not my sister chooses to reconnect with me, in which I will never give up trying. I have also reached out to mutual friends and family members, hoping they might act as intermediaries or offer support in bridging the gap between us. However, I understand that they too must respect my sister's boundaries and not get involved in our personal dispute. My ex Bill has refused to pick up any of my phone calls through all of this. I heard from my mother that he told her I initiated the entire thing and got him drunk, then forced myself onto him, which is the furthest thing from the truth. I can't believe he threw me under the bus after I was there for him for so long. Guess I really looked like the fool, huh? The pain of not being able to communicate with my sister is devastating, but I am determined to learn from my mistakes and make amends in any way possible. I will continue to work on myself and strive to become someone who deserves her forgiveness, even if it takes a significant amount of time. To say the past few months has been insane is an understatement. I feel like my entire world has caved in. While I hold on to hope that one day my sister will be willing to reopen the lines of communication, I also acknowledge the possibility that she may never want to speak to me again. Regardless, I will continue to grow, learn, and reflect on my actions, knowing that healing and reconciliation are processes that cannot be rushed or forced. I hope my sister sees my remorse and my effort to grow. I will update if anything further happens. Some interesting comments. One says, "Your logic is their relationship was already failing, so your sister should take responsibility. Let me ask you a question using your own logic. Let's say your car is older and needs some work done. If I come up and steal your car GTA style, and I total it, would you be at fault for the crash because the car was already failing? Or would it be me because I'm the one that took it and couldn't control the car and crashed? See how dumb that sounds? If it was failing, then your job was to help your sister get through this and guide her towards counseling or a divorce. Instead, you guided your way into his pants. I think it's more to the story, and the more to the story is you had feelings for the bill for a while, and this drunk behavior made you act on it. You give off golden child energy in which you've rarely been held accountable. Oh, and if my comment wasn't clear enough, YTA. OOP. I understand what you're saying. It makes sense. com_froyo_475. This has to be a troll post rage bait. Oop, how am I baiting? Do you need to see screenshots between my sister and I? I feel bad, yes. My point, I shouldn't be completely at fault here. I'm not trying to be a victim. Screenshots of a text conversation with OOP sister. Test messages. Oop, Lindsay, I am extremely sorry. I haven't been able to eat, sleep or function since this has all happened. Regardless of you believing it's been ongoing, it's only happened once. I take full responsibility for my part. I should have distanced from him when he was making advances before. I should have pressed it more. I shouldn't have given in. I was intoxicated, I wouldn't have done it sober. I take responsibility for it. I just feel that responsibility needs to be taken, that it was already failing. You should have left him a long time ago, or even believe me when I tried to tell you. OOP sister, are you kidding me? You're always the victim, Kelly, always. You can never take responsibility for your actions. I swear you could hit someone with a car walking on a damn sidewalk, and you'd still argue it was their fault too, for not moving. You betrayed me. You're right. I stupidly didn't believe you because I was in denial about my marriage. But I never thought that you would do this to me ever. I helped raise you. I was there for you whenever you needed me. I forgave you for the upbringing we had with you always being the favorite. You cannot handle the fact that mom and dad are siding with me for once. I never want to see you again. You are no longer my sister. Op. I am sorry. I never meant to hurt you. I am not trying to play the victim at all, I take responsibility. But why am I getting the most heat here? He's just as at fault. All I am saying is that you should have left him, or been actively trying to fix the relationship, or it wouldn't have gotten this far. But that still does not excuse my behavior. I am the worst. I just don't understand why I get the most heat. OOP sister. Because you are my sister. Men come and go. I am not going back and forth. Have a good life being that you are. Final update. Wow, you guys are ruthless. I fully see that I was in the wrong and my behavior is inexcusable. I do not deserve to have her as a sister, and I am literally a piece of crap. There's not a single insult you guys can give me that I haven't given myself. Surprisingly, my sister unblocked me, expressing her desire for closure and personal healing. It seems that she has reached a point where she needs to address the past in order to move forward, but she has made it clear that she doesn't wish to continue our relationship. We had an open and honest discussion about the pain and hurt that had accumulated over time. It was an emotional and challenging conversation, but one that allowed us to express our feelings and seek some form of closure. During our conversation, my sister made it clear that she has made the difficult decision to no longer have a relationship with me. She explained that she needs to focus on her own healing and well-being, and believes that maintaining a relationship with me would hinder that process. It was a heartbreaking realization for me to accept, but I understand and respect her choice. In our conversation, I took the opportunity to sincerely apologize for any pain I have caused her. I acknowledged my past mistakes and expressed deep regret for my actions. While I had hoped for a different outcome, I understand that my sister's healing journey is her own to navigate, and it may not involve me. Moving forward, I will continue to reflect on the lessons learned from this experience. I have come to understand the impact of my actions and the importance of personal growth and self-reflection. It is crucial for me to learn from this and strive to become a better person, even if it means accepting that my sister wants no further relationship with me. While it is painful to accept the loss of a close bond, I will honor my sister's wishes and give her the space she needs to heal and move forward. I will continue to work on myself, seeking personal growth and understanding, and ensuring that I do not repeat the mistakes of the past. This experience has taught me the importance of empathy, forgiveness, and respecting the boundaries of others. I am grateful for the opportunity to have had this conversation with my sister, as it has allowed me to gain a deeper understanding of the consequences of my actions and the importance of growth and healing in relationships. This will likely be my last update as there's nothing more to say. I lost my sister and the respect of the people closest to me. But through all of that, she is the victim, not me. I deserve this. 2 story. I, F25, went no contact with my family. M54, F50, and M20. When I was 80. Now they are reaching out. What should I do? For whatever reason, my parents didn't want me. Once they had my brother, who we'll call Adam, I was pretty much ignored. They didn't abuse me, but I was pretty neglected. Everything was about Adam, and how smart he was, or how athletic he was, or how he was just the best thing since sliced bread. Then there's me, a pretty average kid who got decent grades, didn't play sports, wasn't super popular, and liked to read books. I can't tell you how many times I heard, "Why can't you be more like Adam?" What made me cut off my family was when they didn't attend my high school graduation. Adam had gotten hurt that morning. A sprained ankle, I was eventually told, and our parents rushed him to the AITA, because he swore up and down he broke his leg. I only got one text from my mom telling me, that they would make it up to me with a dinner to some family restaurant I mildly enjoyed. I was done after that. I had been used to be neglected or forgotten about, but I thought they would at least attend my graduation. I moved out that summer to go live with my cousin, F30, and her wife in Arizona. Then I blocked them, and they haven't been in my life since. My family did try to get into contact with me after I left, but it was mostly just telling me I was a bad daughter and overly sensitive, and didn't care about Adam. Years later, I still don't have any contact with them. I'm now married to my husband John, M26, who loves me and treats me like I matter. We also have a daughter, 2F, that I love more than the world itself. I have a close-knit group of friends and a job that makes decent money that I enjoy. I'm not saying my life is perfect or a dream or anything, but it's definitely leagues better than my childhood. Which brings me to last week, when my cousin called to tell me they had a message from my parents and my brother. This isn't anything new, but the message itself was. Instead of the usual blame game, my cousin told me that they wanted to apologize for everything. With Father's Day coming up, they were hoping I could come down to visit with my family and we could have a discussion. I know most people would scream, "Don't, it's a trap. They want something from you." But I'm not so sure. For one thing, none of them have ever reached out to apologize for anything towards me. But I still have connections to my extended family, so I have info about my parents and Adam from them. None of them are sick or dying and need an organ, they're not in debt and need help with finances. My parents aren't hoping to retire and want to be supported. Adam doesn't need help with student loans, scholarship kid. So it could be genuine. But at the same time, I don't know if I care enough to have a discussion. My life has been great without them, so why do I need them now? I wanted them as a kid, but not anymore. However, John says this could be a genuine olive branch since they never apologize. He might be right. Even if I don't agree to have contact, I might finally get some closure, or at least some answers as to why they didn't want me, or why Adam was so much better than me. Should I hear them out, or just tell my cousin to tell them to go step on Legos? I'll take any advice at this point. Update 11 days later. Hey guys, a lot of you gave solid advice on my first post, and I really appreciate it. I did ask my friends for their own advice too, but they had more bust their kneecaps school of thought. Funny, but not so helpful at the time. Anyway, even though a lot of you warned me, I was just too curious to not talk to my family. Still, I told my cousin to tell them that I was not meeting them for Father's Day. I had always intended to reject the idea. I wanted to celebrate John and my Phil for being awesome, and that I wanted to do a Zoom meeting instead. I was expecting them to pitch a fit, but they agreed. Yesterday, we met on Zoom. I made sure to have the meeting at my cousin's house because my house is my space, and I don't like intruders, whether in person or virtual. John was hiding in the room out of sight, and my daughter was with my cousin's wife. Long story short, my mother is a revolving door and both my parents are idiots. To make it a longer story, my mother had an affair with my Uncle Rick, M60, my dad's older brother, and caught got after she found out she was pregnant. My dad forgave her and agreed to raise me as his as long as they never did a paternity test. Apparently, it was easier to act as my father if he didn't have confirmation that I was his brother's child. Spoiler alert, I am not Rick's kid. Unfortunately for me, I have always been my dad's bio daughter. Rick apparently can't have kids, and my dad only found out on Mother's Day when Rick's wife made a joke about it. So my parents just resented me all this time, because they were convinced I was Rick's child, despite not having proof. It didn't help that I was just so mediocre compared to Adam, like how Rick is compared to my dad. What I mean by that is that my dad has a fancy desk job in a titled position, and Rick is just your average truck driver. So clearly that must have meant I couldn't be my father's child. Per second. They begged for forgiveness. My mom tried to blame my dad for not taking the test. My dad tried to blame it on my mom for being a truck stop for Rick. But they both wanted me to forgive them because they were sick with regret of how they treated me over a misunderstanding. They swore up and down that, even if they weren't always there for me, they still loved me, and were still my parents, and we can be a real family now that the misunderstanding was finally cleared up. Even Adam was pushing hard for it. People asked about our relationship in my last post, but there's not really much to say. He was like a roommate. I was never bullied by him, and he didn't really interact with me, though he definitely reveled in our parents' favoritism. Still, they were all very sorry, but I had to understand why my parents acted like they did. Now, everyone wants to make it up to me and be part of my life again, and be the best grandparents and uncle they can be to my daughter. I obviously told them no. Anyone with eyes could see they just wanted forgiveness to make themselves feel better. I told them that my life was better without them, and I didn't need them anymore. They got mad at that, and called me heartless and cruel, and a bad daughter, for being so unforgiving and for not being more understanding towards them. Because it was just a mistake that I had a shitty childhood and had to play second fiddle to Adam. I just told them to forget I existed, and ended the call. Then I burst into tears, and my husband had to comfort me. Their insults didn't hurt me, even after all this time of no contact. I'm used to that. But all that time feeling like shit and suicidal and wondering what I did to deserve my mistreatment was just a waste. All because my parents were massive douche canoes with chicken nuggets for brains. I'm glad I didn't waste money to go see them. I'm also glad I heard them out for my own closure. They're trying to aggressively reach out and contact me, even getting other relatives to do so. I've already got a bunch of emails and texts this morning ranging from pleads to just hear them and insults about being cruel and heartless. I've been ignoring them, because I've washed my hands of my family, and will continue to remain in no contact. So yeah, thank you for all your advice. It meant a lot. Story 3. AITA for telling my daughter, of course, she could move in with me without talking to my wife first. I have been married to Nora for about 5 years, together for 7, and she has a daughter who is 10. I have a 16-year-old daughter, Ria, from my first marriage who lives in another state with her mom, as has for the last 8 years. It was kind of a complicated situation where both of us were being transferred for work. We were already divorced, and we agreed my ex would take Ria, and I would fly her out once a month for a weekend, and have her every summer every other holiday. It was a hard decision, but the 3 of us have made it work and are very happy. Nora also has always said she loves Ria like she's her own, and I have never thought she was lying until recently. Without getting into it in too much detail, Ria has been experiencing extreme bullying from boys at her school, and the school's response has been abysmal for the level of harassment. My ex and I have been in constant contact with the school, and the situation has only gotten worse all semester. Nora knows about all of us this, and has been very sympathetic when Ria was talking about it here over Thanksgiving. My ex and I have been planning on sending Ria to a private school in the area next semester. There's only the one public and one private one in the area. Things have apparently gotten worse since winter break started, and the boys have ramped up the bullying. Ria called me the other day completely devastated. My ex was around, but basically she doesn't see an end in sight, even with going to the new school. The parents in school have been useless, and she doesn't want to keep living like this. She asked if it would be possible to come and live here, basically switching the schedule. I told her of course we could, that we would do everything in our power to help her with this. I talked to my ex a little, after speaking to Ria, and while she's completely devastated about everything, she sadly agreed. She has said she's working on seeing about transferring to my area, or even getting a new job, but agrees with me that Ria needs to get out of this situation before the new semester begins. After that call, I immediately called Nora to discuss with her. Even though she's been sympathetic to everything, she completely lost it at me, telling me that I should have said no until I talked to her. She said this was too much of a change for her daughter, and would disrupt our home too much, and as my wife she should have a veto on it. I was shocked and honestly appalled, and told her she was being unreasonable. I wasn't going to tell my traumatized daughter she couldn't live with me because I needed my wife's permission. She hung up on me. That night I came home, and she had sent her daughter to her mom's, and she tried basically laying down. She didn't sign up to be a full-time stepmom. She was saying no to Ria moving in, and if I insisted on still going through with it, then she would have no responsibilities towards Ria, and if I asked her for help she'd say no. I basically told her this was ridiculous, goes against everything she agreed to when we got together, and if that's how she wanted to be I would reconsider many things I had agreed to, such as her being a SA and starting next year. She kind of gave up, calmed down after that, especially because when her mom dropped her daughter off she told us, without her daughter there, that Nora was being ridiculous, and she was ashamed of her. I thought that would be the end of it, but she's been bringing it up to some of our friends and a few of them have agreed with her. Although it seems like she stopped fighting it, she still insists that she wants no responsibilities towards Ria, who drives, does her own laundry, and is an independent young lady anyways, and that any and all decisions regarding Ria, especially financial ones, need to go through her before I say anything to Ria or my ex. I haven't even asked her for help, and have been working on registering Ria for school, and finding her a therapist in the area myself. I'm starting to think this marriage is doomed, but I'm wondering if I'm in the wrong about what I did. Edit because this is a little overwhelming now. 1. Our daughters get along amazingly despite their age differences. In fact. 2. We also get along with our respective exes great. To the point that last summer when Nora's dad was going through chemo, my ex let both girls go back to stay with her for a week because we were so overwhelmed. He's in remission now, but it was bad for a while. Both our exes were at our wedding. 3. Her ex also lives far away and only has visitation, and pays quite a bit in child supper, which is how she'd be a SHM, and he is also on board with it. Story 4. After dating for 5 years, my fiancé told me he wasn't sure about marrying me. I never thought I'd be the person writing something like this, but here we are. I-29F was with my fiancés, 31M, for 5 years. We met in our mid-20s, grew up together in a lot of ways, moved in, built a life that felt stable. Not perfect, but solid. When he proposed last year, it wasn't a huge surprise. We talked about marriage. Not obsessively, but enough that it felt like a natural next step. Our friends were getting married. Our parents were asking questions. We'd been together forever. The proposal was simple. No crowd, no cameras, just the two of us, I cried. He looked relieved more than excited, but I ignored that. I told myself not everyone shows emotions the same way. That should have been my first red flag. The doubts came out on a random Tuesday night. I asked him if he'd had a chance to look at wedding venues. I'd sent him links earlier that week. Nothing pushy, just, what do you think about this place? He didn't answer right away. Then he said, I've been meaning to talk to you. You know how your body reacts before your brain catches up? That happened to me. He told me he wasn't sure about getting married. Then clarified. Not sure about marrying me. He said it calmly. Like he was talking about changing jobs or moving apartments. I asked how long he'd felt this way. A while. I asked why he proposed. I thought it was the next step. I thought I'd feel different once we were engaged. That sentence rewired something in my head. The weeks after that were awful. We didn't break up immediately. He wanted time to think. Space, but not space. We still lived together. Still shared groceries. Still slept in the same bed sometimes. I felt like I was slowly dissolving. Every little interaction became loaded. If he laughed at his phone, I wondered who he was texting. If he came home late, my stomach dropped. If he was quiet, I assumed the worst. I asked him multiple times if there was someone else. Every time he said no. I'd tell you if there was, he said. This isn't about another woman. I wanted to believe him. About 3 weeks in, I took my ring off, not dramatically. Just quietly placed it in my jewelry box. He noticed a few days later. You don't have to do that, he said. I do, I replied. I can't wear a promise you're not sure about. He didn't argue. That silence did more damage than a fight ever could. Update 1. Posted a month later. We broke up. I moved out. Packed my things. Left behind the couch we picked together. The stupid lamp he loved. The mug with our inside joke on it. The breakup wasn't explosive. No screaming. No begging. He hugged me and said he was sorry. I said I hoped he figured out what he wanted. I cried in my car afterward for an hour. I genuinely believed the story ended there. I was wrong. A few months passed. I started therapy. Forced myself to go out with friends. Deleted his number. Blocked him on social media. Not out of anger, but self-preservation. I was slowly getting better. Then, one night, I got a message from an old mutual acquaintance. Someone I hadn't spoken to in years. Hey, she wrote. This is awkward, but, are you still with his name? I said no. We broke up. She paused for a while before responding. Oh, okay. I wasn't sure if you knew. My chest tightened. Knew what? Update 2. This is where things stopped making sense. She told me she'd seen him recently. At a small gathering. With a woman. Not just a woman. A woman he used to work with. A woman I'd met before. I asked when. She said, a few months ago. Around the time you guys split, I think. Maybe a little before. I confronted him that night. I didn't plan to. I just snapped. He didn't deny it. That's the part that still haunts me. He said, I didn't cheat. Then admitted he'd been emotionally involved with her before we broke up. It wasn't physical, he insisted. But I had feelings. I asked how long. He hesitated. About a year. A year. He proposed to me while emotionally attached to someone else. I asked why he didn't just tell me. He said, because I didn't know what it meant. I thought it was just a crush. I thought it would pass. That word again. Thought. I asked if he was with her now. He said yes. They'd started officially dating not long after we broke up. I asked if he was sure about her. He said, I feel different with her. I laughed. Not because it was funny. Because it was surreal. I spent weeks replaying everything. Every moment I'd felt him pull away. Every time he'd seemed distant. Every argument that ended with me apologizing just to keep the peace. He wasn't confused. He was already gone. He just didn't want to be the bad guy. Update 3, 6 months later. I ran into him by accident. He looked lighter, happier. He asked how I was doing. I told him the truth. Better. He told me he was thinking about proposing again someday. Not to me. I wished him luck. And I meant it. Because something clicked in that moment. Here's the thing I learned. When someone says they're not sure, sometimes they are. And sometimes they're sure, just not brave enough to admit the truth. He didn't doubt marriage. He doubted us, while quietly auditioning someone else. And I spent years trying to earn certainty from someone who was already emotionally investing elsewhere. That realization hurt more than the breakup, but it also set me free. Final thoughts. If you're reading this and someone tells you they're unsure after years together, don't try to convince them. Uncertainty is often a cover for a decision already made. They're just waiting for you to make it easier for them. If you made it to the end, thank you for listening. Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments. But remember, this is a story of real people and real pain. Take care, and thank you for listening.